aviation accidents often raise more questions than answers. Today, we dive into one of these incidents. The crash of Flight 268, a tragic event, serves as a warning. Our goal is to understand how a chart error could cause disaster. First, let's define what we mean by a chart error. A chart error is a mistake in navigational data used by pilots. Now, let's explore the sequence of events leading to the crash. First, Flight 268 took off with a full load of passengers. The pilots relied on their navigational charts during the flight. As they ascended, they encountered a critical error. One key chart showed incorrect altitude. The pilots unwittingly followed this chart, resulting in confusion. Next, they received a clearance for altitude change. Unfortunately, the error had made them set an incorrect altitude. The plane began to descend instead of ascend. Suddenly, alarms rang out in the cockpit. The pilots faced mounting pressure to regain control. Let's break this down further. Pilots receive multiple instruments and alerts. Their training teaches them to cross-check this data. However, in this instance, the chart error went unnoticed. Imagine trying to find your way using a wrong map. You might follow the wrong road without realizing it. Similarly, pilots depended on faulty navigational data. Now, let's look at a relatable example. Think about a GPS directing you to a non-existent road. If you followed those directions, you'd likely get lost. This is exactly what happened during Flight 268. In conclusion, a seemingly minor charter error had dire consequences. It highlights the importance of accurate navigational information. Always ensure your data is verified and double-checked. Aviation relies on precision, and so should we. If you found this insight valuable, please like and subscribe. Join us for more deep dives into aviation mysteries. Your awareness can make all the difference. The flight crew began to scramble for solutions, desperately checking other instruments for any signs of correct altitude. As the seconds ticked away, their training kicked in, yet the confusion rooted in the erroneous chart lingered, further intensifying their fight against time. Amid the chaos, one pilot shouted, "We have to climb now." As they wrestled with the controls, desperately trying to stabilize the aircraft. The co-pilot quickly examined the altitude reading on the artificial horizon, realizing it was not aligning with their expectations. What if the chart error is affecting our instruments too? He wondered aloud, concern flooding his voice as they struggled against the aircraft's descent. With moments to spare, the lead pilot decided to trust his instincts, even as doubt crept in. "Let's climb," he commanded, gripping the control yoke firmly. The co-pilot nodded, his hands flying over the controls as he prepared to execute the desperate maneuver. As they pushed the throttle forward, the engines roared, yet the descent continued, pulling the aircraft downwards. "Altitude drop," the co-pilot called, his voice tight with urgency. Errors collided with their training as they struggled to regain command. The sheer weight of responsibility felt crushing in those last fleeting moments. Without the correct data, they were navigating in a fog that had become all too real. Finally, trusting their instincts over the faulty indicators, they made one last effort to gain altitude, and outmaneuver the impending catastrophe. The cockpit was filled with tension as they awaited any sign of their success. Would they break free from the grip of the descending chaos? As they desperately fought against the rapidly descending aircraft, the co-pilot recalled their training on emergency protocols. "We should notify air traffic control about our situation," he urged, knowing that communicating their perilous condition could be critical. The lead pilot, focused solely on flying, could only nod in agreement, his mind racing with the gravity of their circumstances. With a steady voice, he initiated contact. "Mayday, Mayday, Flight 268 is experiencing an altitude emergency." As their plea echoed through the radio waves, they held on to hope, praying for guidance from those monitoring their flight. Meanwhile, the intense cockpit environment thickened with uncertainty as they awaited a response, their fates hanging in the balance. With every passing moment, they needed to take back control, lest they become another statistic in aviation history. The air traffic controller's voice pierced through the static, calm yet urgent. "Flight 268, maintain your current altitude. We'll guide you through this." In those critical moments, every second counted as the pilots implemented their training, focusing on the instructions from air traffic control. With renewed determination, they steered the aircraft, striving to regain stability amidst the chaos. Despite the uncertainty, their teamwork became a beacon of hope, lighting the path towards safety. With the air traffic controller providing guidance, the lead pilot shifted his focus back to their immediate predicament. "All right, let's follow the instructions," he said, an unwavering resolve reinforcing his voice. The co-pilot adjusted the aircraft's trajectory, aligning it with the controller's commands while keeping a watchful eye on the altitude readings. "We're gaining a bit of lift," he exclaimed, a hint of relief breaking the tension, yet the threat of descent still loomed heavily over them. As they executed the maneuver, anticipation hung thick in the air, tempered by the harsh reality of their ongoing plight. "If we can just stabilize for a moment longer," the lead pilot murmured, his grip tightening on the controls, embodying the fierce determination to reclaim their flight from the chaotic grasp of circumstance. The cockpit pulsed with urgency as instruments flickered, reflecting the fragile balance between their skills and the tumultuous situation. "We'll make it," the co-pilot affirmed, though doubt lingered at the edges of his confidence. The aircraft shuddered violently as they battled against its unpredictable nature, a stark reminder of the thin line separating safety from disaster. As the aircraft's descent began to stall, there was a fleeting glimmer of hope, injecting renewed vigor into the pilot's desperate efforts. "Hold steady," the lead pilot instructed, focusing intently on every gauge, every sound, determined not to let this moment slip away. In this critical battle against gravity, the lessons learned in training became their lifeline. The air traffic controller's voice resonated again, "Flight 268, continue your climb. You're on the right path." Fueled by this encouragement, the pilots rallied together, channeling their collective strength into the controls, pushing against the pull of despair that thundered through the cabin. As they fought to regain altitude, moments of doubt flickered in and out, but the unwavering belief in their abilities delivered a fierce determination. "Almost there," the co-pilot called out as they felt the aircraft responding to their commands, slowly stabilizing as the altimeter began to reflect their ascent. Each passing second felt like a lifetime, yet they pressed on, seeking resolution against the torrent of challenges that had confronted them. In those treacherous minutes, the bond between the pilot and co-pilot solidified into a fierce pact, each trusting the other to guide them through. "We've got this," the lead pilot shouted, urgency transforming into a rallying cry, energy radiating from their unbreakable bond as they pushed forward, the spirit of resilience igniting their final push towards safety. The aircraft began to respond, its shuddering easing as they climbed higher. "We're making progress," the co-pilot exclaimed, his excitement breaking through the tension. However, they knew they weren't out of danger yet. Each second brought new challenges as they navigated the lingering effects of the charter error. The lead pilot's instincts urged caution, even as adrenaline surged through him. "Let's keep an eye on those instruments," he reminded, ensuring they wouldn't let their guard down. "Check the vertical speed," he instructed. The co-pilot quickly verified the reading, his heart pounding as it showed an increase. "We're climbing at a steady rate," he announced, a smile creeping across his face, though he held onto his focus tightly. Relishing this moment of progress, they exchanged a glance that spoke volumes: relief, resolve, and an acknowledgement of the teamwork that had brought them this far. The lead pilot steadied his breath, grateful for the support as they fought their way back from the brink of disaster. Amid the chaos, the air traffic controller's voice broke through once again: "Flight 268, you're doing well. Maintain your climb and continue on the current heading." With this renewed guidance, they anchored themselves in the moment, fully committed to the path ahead. The co-pilot focused on stabilizing their climb while the lead pilot monitored the horizon, vigilant against any further surprises. In this critical phase, they realized how vital collaboration was, not just between them, but with the air traffic control team guiding them through every moment. The flights of their training, combined with their instincts, began to shine through the darkest of hours. Despite the challenges faced, victory felt tangible as they worked in unison to reclaim their aircraft. As they leveled off gradually, hope blossomed anew in the cockpit, an acknowledgement that they had faced the storm and emerged resilient, stronger than before. The aircraft continued its ascent, and with each passing moment, the tension in the cockpit gradually began to dissipate. "We're clear of the worst of it now," the co-pilot observed. A cautious optimism tinged his tone as he continued monitoring the instruments. The lead pilot shared a brief glance of relief, knowing the danger was not yet fully behind them, but feeling a sense of accomplishment. "Let's level off at this altitude and reassess our situation," he instructed, his voice steady as he fought to keep a level head. The co-pilot nodded, focusing intently as they leveled out, taking a moment to breathe deeply while recalibrating their strategy. "Time to gather more data and see how we can proceed safely," he added, knowing their survival hinged on meticulous decision-making moving forward. They knew they needed to communicate with air traffic control again to inform them of their current status and intentions. "This is just the first step, let's keep the momentum going," the lead pilot replied, determination infusing his words as they prepared to engage in further dialogue with the air traffic controller. As they stabilized their flight path, clarity replaced the chaos, allowing them to assess their surroundings. The lead pilot took a deep breath, regaining composure. "Air traffic control, this is Flight 268, we have stabilized our altitude at 12,000 feet, he reported, his voice firm with conviction. The co-pilot diligently monitored the instruments, noting the encouraging signs of recovery as they awaited a response. "Flight 268, understood? Maintain your heading and climb to 15,000 feet when ready," came the calm reply from air traffic control, signaling a potential route to safety. The co-pilot's face brightened with anticipation. "We can do this," he encouraged, re-establishing their resolve to regain complete control over their aircraft. With shared determination, they prepared to ascend once more, aware that their teamwork could navigate them through whatever lay ahead. As they readied themselves for the climb, both pilots felt the weight of their ordeal begin to lift. "Together, we'll get through this," the lead pilot said, his voice steady, embodying a profound sense of unity and purpose. With hands poised over the controls, they embraced the journey ahead with unwavering commitment, determined to turn